There we go. Alright guys, welcome back to Rampant Lion Reviews once again. For this one, we have a collaboration review, and this is only the third collaboration review I believe that I've done for you here on the channel, if memory serves me correctly. So yeah, pretty cool to have Thomas from Thomas Opent along here. We're in Winschoten,
the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, in the north of the country. And Thomas has picked out one of his local beers, one of his local gypsy breweries for us to have a look at today. So can you tell us a little bit about this beer and the brewery?
Well, the brewery is called Folkingebrew, and the name is a reference to Folkingestraat in Groningen. And there's a great bottle shop there, just in beer, and in the backyard there they brewed their first beers. They started out as a little bit of experimentation stuff, and it got pretty well known, and they've done some contract brewing, some gypsy brewing at the bigger Dutch breweries. For example, I think one of the first beers was, I believe, actually done at Rock City, and now these big IPAs are brewed at Baksbier in Groningen. So this is pretty local to me, and yeah, I think they've been around for like 2 years now, give or take. I think that one of their first beers that they did, the check-ins I saw were like on Untappd were about October 2018. So that's when they sort of kind of started off, and in the last few months, really, like the last 6 months, they've been really skyrocketing, and their beers have become commercially available in the Netherlands quite easily. And they're really focusing. They want to brew the beers that they like to drink, which is of course always a good thing. And what they really like to drink is these big, hazy double IPAs. What we have here is the Leap of Faith. It is a 8.5% ABV, New England style double IPA, category S beer. The ingredients are water, malted barley and oats, and the hops are Citrup, Mosaic and Galaxy. The yeast doesn't really say. So yeah, folkingebrew.nl. I can send you the link. Maybe you want to put that in the description box at some. But the website is completely in Dutch, so I'm not sure if. No, I don't think it. No, I think the website is in English actually.
We've always got Google Translate, and it's fairly decent for Dutch.
Yeah, and this was canned about a week ago.
So it's pretty damn fresh.
Yeah, I think it was about a week ago, give or take, maybe 10 days. So this is pretty damn fresh for. Come on, it's an 8.5% ABV, but let's be honest. I don't know about you, but a lot of these modern hazies, I think a good, well-brewed, stable IPA should definitely last for a few months. Still have loads of flavour. I sometimes get the impression that a lot of these modern hazies, they really start losing their impact pretty quickly. So it's really best to drink these.
See, I'm always of the mind that with a hazy, I think you've got to leave them in the can for about 10 days, and you let the green drop down just a little bit.
Definitely.
And then that's when they're in their prime for me. And the thing I always found, I'm curious about this, one of the things I've always found with New England hazes, I think when you go above the 8% mark, I think you've really got to have a type of malt in there, like a little bit of Carapils or Cara Munich or something, just to sweeten it out. Because otherwise, and I've noticed that's a trend that's coming in Scandinavia these days, they've got more of that kind of butter candy, Werther's Original.
That caramelly, I know exactly what you mean, which is one of the reasons why I keep saying that. There's exceptions, but when it comes to, I love my sessions, I love session IPAs, but for me the sweet spot for an IPA, double IPA, whatever you want to say, just let's call it IPA for now, is between the 6 and 8% ABV mark. Really think that's where most IPAs really find their stride and have the most flavour, the most impact, and don't need a lot of messing around with.
Yeah.
Like you just said with that Carapils.
I would agree with that, because I've noticed, I always find you get a couple of different types in New England IPA as well. You get the slightly more farmhousey ones, like the Heady Topper. You'll get the more oaty, creamy ones, like the Treehouse. And then you get the more wheaty, bitey ones, like Trillium. Those are the three main.
From what I've gathered here, you really need to think. I've never had Treehouse, but you sort of need to think into your Treehouse sort of ballpark here.
Okay, that's interesting then. This will be interesting.
You want to do the honours and do a nice divide?
Why not then? So Folkingebrew, the Leap of Faith, double dry hop, New England. Yeah. And what was it? Citron, Mosaic, and Galaxy.
I'm not sure if it was double dry hopped. It's a double IPA, New England style.
Oh, it says double dry hopped on the can.
Did it double dry?
Yeah.
Oh right, you're completely right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
All right, there you go. There we go. So this should be very nice. Curious about this. All right. I'm always terrible at doing these pours.
Oh, that's fine, mate. We can just a little bit first, and we can always divide the rest for the Instagram shots.
For the Instagram shots, yeah.
Do it for the gram.
For the gram. Clickies. Okay. There's actually not that much left. Let's just do it.
Yeah, go for it.
There we go. yeah, that's fair.
Oh,
A wee bit more sediment.
Thank you
A wee
very
bit more
much.
sediment for
Yeah,
me.
you need to.
Wee bit of sediment. I do like the artwork on that actually. Very
Yeah.
very nice. That'd be cool.
They got nice artwork. I love their artwork so far. They actually, in one of the last beers, they keep on dreaming. They actually used the silhouette of a famous Groningen. Well, he's actually internationally quite known. Arjen Robben, football player.
Ah, Arjen
Yeah,
Robben,
but he plays with Groningen now. He's from the province of Groningen. He plays with the FC Groningen now.
Ah, I didn't realise.
So they had a little silhouette of him because he one of his biggest dreams was to go play for Groningen again. So he's playing there now, and that was like his big dream. So keep on dreaming, and his little silhouette was in the artwork. That was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, Robin was a good player in his day. I don't know what it's like now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm not into. So let's go keep it on the beer.
Oh yeah, but yeah, in terms of colour, I'd say this is a kind of murky. This is quite a murky yellow. I mean, this is like a sort of dark peach juice kind of.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Orangina.
Mmm.
When you had that hazy soft drink, remember? Have you ever had Orangina?
Oh yeah, I do.
And I can't remember the last time I had it, so maybe I'm completely off. But for some reason, this reminds me of Orangina.
Yeah, I can see that. I always use, see guys, this is always the interesting thing with different beer reviewers. Different beer reviewers have different kind of frames of reference, if you like. When it comes to New England IPAs, I always talk about, mango juice, peach juice, and I think I was saying that to you the other day that I learned about, I drank fruit juices. That was how I sort of trained my palate a little bit, was trying lots of different fruit juices. And this one, in terms of colour, this really makes me think of like a mango juice, maybe a peach juice. Yeah. So yeah, kind of a mid to more rich yellow kind of colour, this one.
Absolutely.
Nice dark murky. The head, I think, just looking from the sort of ring we've got around the edge of it, it's got a nice kind of, I'd say it's a kind of creamy sort of, it's more of a creamy white than a perfect white, if that makes sense.
It dissipated very quickly, but that could be, I did rate, my glasses are clean, but we have a bit of a high...
sulfur content.
No, not chalk, the
calcium. Calcium.
Yeah, in the water. So that could do a few things. What it could also be the thing, I always find that if I divide a beer, and especially if you do another little bit extra, that always fucks up the head anyway.
Ah, yeah,
well, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it's all good.
It means we have to drink it very quickly, otherwise it oxidizes, so we have a good reason to chug.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, aroma. Let's have a look at the aroma then. So I usually start with malty side of things. So malt. For me, that's got a lovely, smooth, bready note to it, but at the same time, you get the nice... I think the oats come out of this one, but if you take it in more deeply, you do get the wheat. You do get the a slightly more bitey character from the wheat. So
it's a pity that they just said malted barley, but not wheat specifically, because this again, we had a beer yesterday. Remember where we were both like the Duvel, where we were both like, is there wheat in here? And this also again has me going like that wheaty character.
Yeah. I think malty wise, so this is it's the sort of almost sweet, creamy note of the oats that's coming out in this one quite a lot. So I think quite a creamy, wheaty, oaty sort of thing.
It smells creamy.
Yeah, nice creamy, wheaty oats. I do get a little bit of that sort of butter candy Werther's Original thing out of this. I do get a little bit of that.
Yeah, not so much for me, but again, that's that frame of reference thing you have, and I'm getting. I wouldn't be surprised that after a few sips, I might get a more of that caramelly thing going.
Yeah. No, I think this one's definitely got a little. For me, it has a little bit of that. I do think a little bit Werther's Original in this one, and if you take it in more deeply, you do get a little bit of wheaty bitiness out of it, in my opinion. Smooth oats, the smooth oats are there. I can definitely see why you say treehousey.
The thing though for me right now, and we're getting to that later, but the hop here is so intense right now.
Yeah, let's focus on the hop.
So it's very difficult. The first thing, it's fading a bit now. I don't know if you have that still yet, but the first thing
your nose saturates after a while.
Exactly. Yeah. I sometimes sort of reset my nose by smelling on my shirt. Somebody thinks that I'm smelling my armpit, but that sort of resets your nose again. It's a good trick. If you smell too often at a beer, reset your nose by smelling something different. I got so much cat pee in the beginning. That cat pee thingy.
I've never had a cat, so I don't know.
Some people call it. There's a frame of reference. It's a plant, Buxus. Anyway, it had that sort of cat pee thing, but that went away pretty quickly.
We're in the Netherlands. We can make lots of jokes about plants, but
you can. Something of a weedy danky. It does have a bit of a weedy danky thing. A little bit. It
does, yeah. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I get the green side for me. This is quite a big aromatic one. I don't find this so resinous. This is big and floral for me.
This is
big and aromatic. It's not. I don't find this piney and resiny. No.
No, there's it's not the main note. I think I get a soft resiny thing in the back, but it's not like main thing. This is floral definitely and fruit forward to the max. This is every kind of tropical fruit that you want to name. Yeah. You know, it's in there. That's that citrus speaking for me quite a lot.
See, I think it's for me, like on the green side as well, there's a good little bit of grassiness to it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can get a tiny little bit of earthiness, and that's Mosaic that gives you that. I've always found that Mosaic just has a little touch of earthiness.
I love that earthy, sort of spicy note almost in the Mosaic, that earthy, spicy, then we said the green.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, I think overwhelmingly the green side of this beer is quite, I find it really really aromatic. There's a little touch of spice to it. I mean, I would suspect that there is another bittering hop in here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Quite probably Columbus.
Could be good. Maybe it's just me, but I'm also getting this sort of woody herbal note thing. I'm not specifically saying, but have you ever had like when you get like you've used a lot of thyme and rosemary? If you have that in your hands and you smell a little bit, and you're not getting the specific herb, the woody herb, but I'm getting a sort of a woody herb thing going on here.
Yeah. It's really nice. I mean, there is a bit of lighter grassiness there, but I think the green, for me, green side of the beer, floral aromatic dominated. Nice little bit of earthiness. I think that's all. I think that kind of sums up the green side of it. So fruits. For me, it's this one on the tropical side of things. You do get a little bit more of that pungent passion fruity note, and both the Citra and the Galaxy are going to contribute to that. Galaxy for me is definitely more of a kind of pungent hop.
I like that's a good description. The pungent.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Galaxy for me is always a very kind of pungent hop. I know it. Galaxy is expensive as hell for a lot of brewers. A lot of brewers have told me that. You don't see too much Galaxy in Sweden.
No, we don't get it a lot here either. There's a few hops that you just don't get a lot because of that price issue.
And I think Victoria's Secret is quite popular as well, and it's almost just like a little brother to that, and it's a bit softer, I think, as well. But yeah, for me, there is a bit of that strong passion fruit in there. You've got the softer fruits coming out. I think there's definitely mango. That's the Citra all the way. But one of the things that you need to think about that might be aiding the pungency of that tropical note would be Citra can also give you some grapefruity and passion fruity notes as well as the softer fruits. So I think you've got a bit of mango in this. I want to say pineapple.
There's definitely pineapple, there's definitely mango, and where you were getting that Werther's original caramel thing from, that's where this to me now, because of that's what my frame of reference is, I get that mango pineapple on syrup canned from the cans, you know? Yeah. That sweetness, that essence is what I'm getting. I don't know if this is a thing in Sweden, but back in the 70s and 80s there was this thing, every party had the punch bowl. Where you just got all the canned, tinned fruits. You chuck them in with all the syrup that was added to it, and then you had that fruity sweetness.
Pour the bottle of rum in and everything.
That's what probably happened after the kids went to bed. Or maybe that's why we always were so sleepy very quickly. I just realised. Anyway, that's that sort of fruity thing that I'm getting here.
For me, you do get a bit, you can smell underneath, there is a bit of that oily tangerine note from the Mosaic as well. You definitely get a wee bit of that tangerine oily Mosaic note out of this one.
I am definitely still getting a little bit of that cat pea, weedy danky.
I can see where you get that, yeah.
I like it. This is definitely not too shabby.
It's quite a pungent one though, but remember we're drinking this very fresh at the same time, so.
This in a month would be a lot less impactful. Definitely a lot less impactful.
Okay. But let's have a little taste of this one then. So, Leap of Faith, double dry hop, New England double IPA, was it 8.5?
8.5%.
8.5% from Folkingebrew. The guys are from here in Winschoten?
No, Groningen, which is like 25 kilometers.
Yeah, so the guys, I thought they were from here, but they brewed in Groningen.
No, they're from Groningen, but I would still call that local. Yeah. For me, that's local.
Okay. Well,
cheers, buddy.
Let's get stuck in, guys. Slange,
Slange,
Prost.
Prost. Wow. There's that pungent, sharp.
Strikes me as quite an oily New England.
Yeah.
But it goes very soft afterwards.
I'm getting a bit of a berry thing in the finish now.
I can see that. It's almost a little bit like a candied berry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you get those little hard candies with berry flavour, like that kind of sweetness, berry, wine gummy, almost wine gummy.
That's very interesting. That.
I would like it if this had a bit of a. I know that, and that's the trend with all these New England style IPAs, especially like your Treehouse Trillium things, is that they're not nearly as bitter as I would like my IPAs to be. I would love this to have a bit more of a bittering balance for that sweetness. I'm kind of glad that we're sharing this can, because I think a full 40 by myself, in terms of the sweetness of it, would be a bit too bold.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's nice beer though. We'll say that straight away. This is a solid one.
I can get used to this.
So for me, I always start with the malty side of things. So I think, yeah, there is a nice sort of smooth bready note to this beer, and that blankets middle third of your tongue, back third of your tongue. But I think, yeah, what you were saying earlier, the oats in the middle third of your palate, the oats really start to take over that a little bit.
Yeah, the malted barley here, did it say, could you check, is it malted oats malts, or is it just flaked oats?
Just says normal, it just says oats.
Then it's probably just flaked oats for the body.
Yeah.
But of course, flaked oats will impart flavour.
Yeah, no, that's it. And
that's definitely this is OT to the max.
It doesn't see the thing is with the oats, it really doesn't really. It's as long as it's oats, because it's a chemistry factor. The larger your surface area, the more of a reaction you get, the more efficient a reaction you get. So it's all to do with that. But yeah, this is a very oaty leaning IPA, and I think on top of that oatiness in the middle of the palate, you do get a little bit of that slightly butter candy, Werther's Original type thing. And that lingers there into the aftertaste. Back third of your tongue though, I think you can feel there is like a sort of breadiness that just thickens up a little bit, and then you do get a little touch of that almost kind of wheaty, bitey sort of thing out of this.
I keep drinking this, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't stop drinking.
Yeah.
I need to put this down.
It's crazy.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, it's good. But
and it's always nice, but let's not forget, like when you're talking about an IPA like this, it's nice to focus on the barley side. When on the malt side, when I drink an IPA like this, I will be honest, I tend to not focus on the malt side of the story too much, because really these beers are about hops. While an old school classic IPA, for me, has to have that right balance between malt and hop, and I would always focus on the malty side of the story a lot more. But it's nice to get that oaty quality here. I do wonder what a little bit of carapils.
yeah, I have to say that is a bit of a trend that was going on with these beers for a while, was you did get a little bit of carapils, and the way you can always detect, I've always said this on the channel, trying to describe the flavour of Pils malt is a pain in the arse. It's very difficult, because it's more a mouthfeel thing. I think Pils malt is more of a mouthfeel type thing. Yeah, the thing you'll notice is, and I am wondering with this one, the thing you'll always get to get Pils malt, if you go to the very centre of your palate and then just move back, and you'll feel there is just a sort of kind of crisp line. If you go behind that front part of your palate, I always find you just get a line, and it just feels as if it's a little bit crisp and almost slightly dry.
If it's okay with you, I'm going to try that after the film, because I don't need anybody on film seeing how I'm sticking my finger in my mouth. Sorry. You and me reviewing together will never be a serious thing.
No.
We try.
Afraid not.
I have to, by the way, really apologise for the video quality that is a little less than what you might be used to from James, but we're using my old phone, and there's a bit of a weird thing with a light-dark balance every now and then, just so you guys know.
It's all good, we're using natural light, because I always, in my videos, I've got my window behind me, and I always put the black line there, because it really balances the camera very well, actually.
I should do something like that.
But back third of your palate, I think it's definitely got a little bit of that almost wheaty, bitey kind of thing to it. But this one didn't have wheat, am I remembering right?
No, it didn't say anything about wheat. And you know what, knowing Bucks, and Volkinga as well, both of them, if they had wheat in there, it would say so.
No.
If they have lactose in it, they would say so.
Yeah.
They've made a lactose IPA before, not with a lot of it, just a little bit, but it was a lactose IPA, and they labelled it as. So that's the thing though, a lot of these brewers these days, they chuck in some lactose, and don't mention it on the ingredient list, because they kind of want to up that sweetness, creaminess in the beer, and they think just adding a little bit of lactose and they're not putting it on the label, which I think, by the way, is not only disrespectful to the craft. Always put on your label what you put in there. Second of all, I think it's dangerous, because what if you have somebody who's lactose intolerant?
Yeah, that's it.
And disrespectful to people who don't want to have lactose.
Yeah.
Vegans. So I think whatever way you put it, always put it in there. They would, so that's not in here.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee you that.
Oh yeah. It must be something from the yeast then.
Has to be.
Have be something from the yeast that's doing that. See, I've always been in two minds, and I've said this a couple of times on the channel. I've said to you guys before, I come from a chemistry background, and that's one of the reasons I like beers. You've got this central process that you can play around with and muck around and make materials with. That was always my thing. I thought making different alloys and all of this, that was what really interested me in chemistry. Cement is oddly interesting as well. Different stuff you can do with cement, because you've got a central process, you muck around with it, you make different things. Same with beer. I think it really is the same with beer. You can muck around with beer so much and just change one little thing and do it. But yeah, the yeast in this I think is playing quite a big role. But I think in terms of flavour, this is definitely a more treehousey type New England IPA. And I think the smoothness that they've got out of this without using the wheat, because depending on what type of wheat you use, that can aid the smoothness of the beer quite a lot. So yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff going on with that. But yeah. I do like how that side of it goes together, but we should move on to the hops, I think.
Yeah.
I think we should go with the hoppy side of this, but I think, smooth, oaty base in the middle of your palate, a bit more almost wheaty and bitey, but like I say, that's coming from the yeast, and then you get a little bit, the further you go into the aftertaste, there's a few kind of grainy, crisp, bready type notes come out of the beer. I think that's fair to say. Hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate for me, earthiness from the Mosaic.
Absolutely.
As you come further forward, it does have a bit of spice to it. I'm wondering if Columbus has been used as a bittering hop in this, because there's just something really distinctive about that spice. Other options would perhaps be a CTZ blend, either that or they've used Tomahawk or Zeus, TZ. Those could be the other things that are in here, because those are quite similar. There's something that reminds Amar Brewhus, Copenhagen. I need to bring you one of their beers at some point.
See you next weekend. How about we don't?
Copenhagen. I was going to say COVID. Yeah, but same thing. But I think definitely a bit of that kind of floral thing. But it really does get more aromatic the further you go kind of forward on your palate. Front corners of the tongue for me, almost a little bit spicy, but then front curve of your palate, round the front curve. There is a little bit of aromaticity to it, but grassy. I think that's fair.
It's definitely a bit grassy. I still swear that I'm getting a little bit of that woody herb thing. Like, think about your rosemary, your not a specific herb. It's not like I'm tasting rosemary, I'm not tasting thyme, I'm not getting any sage or whatever, but it just has this sort of thing going on, sort of like an impact that I would get from a woody herb, not like your basil or your coriander thing. Really, those woody, that more astringent sort of like, again, the earthy notes you would get from woody herbs. That's just something that I'm getting quite here.
Yeah, no, I think it does get a little bit almost. It does almost get a little bit earthy, vegetal herby kind of thing in the back.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I get that.
And just again that shitload of what I would call candied, syrupy mango, pineapple, and I'm noticing quite a lot more.
I think there's a lot more passion fruit in this than they
but my experience with passion fruit is not that big, so I can't really. I know what it sort of is like. I've had it once or twice, but not enough to build that frame of reference. Which again, by the way, is what it's all about. It's your frame of reference. If you've had mango 5 times a week and passion fruit twice in your life, you're going to get mango from this.
Yeah.
If you eat a lot more passion fruit, it's going to be a lot more passion fruity. What I do know is that the more and more I'm letting this develop in my mouth now, I'm getting a definite, like that tangerine orange.
Yeah. It's almost got a little bit of almost minty freshness to it, this as well.
I had that with have you seen my review with the Nerd Sense guys, with the other half?
No, I haven't had the time to watch that yet.
We talked about that in that beer as well. I'm getting that here. It's not like you actually have mint yourself, but it's sort of like that, what you just mentioned, that minty freshness. That he always said methanol. Now I want to say methanol, not methanol. Menthol. Yeah. Freshness going through your gut, and I like that. It's nice.
Yeah, I can definitely see that with this beer. Yeah. We should go fruity side now.
Fruity side,
right. For me, fruity part of the beer, front third of your tongue. You always get that. So for me, I like to go from the back and move forward. So I think, the back of that front third, your tongue, that's where you're getting these darker, more pungent, passion fruity notes. As you move further forward, I think that's when it sort of mellows out a little bit and becomes more mango-like.
Mm-hmm.
Then in front of that, you start to get a few of the salt. It's still quite mango. Mango does have a kind of medium strong flavour for me. But when you move a bit further from that, I think there is a bit of pineapple in this one.
Absolutely.
I think there is pineapple. I don't get so much of the softer apricot-y, you know, the apricot-y kind of papaya type thing out of this. I don't get so much of that. Yeah, definitely don't get so much of that. But how do we say? I think when you reach the front part of that palate, you do get it gets a little bit more oily and it's a bit more tangerine for me. I always find that with Mosaic these days. For me, the orangey notes come out as a little bit more oily. I think orangey flavours they just feel more oily.
And especially if you have that, I know people laugh at me. I say this in reviews every now and then. Next time you have a tangerine, peel it, take the skin, and chew on that for a bit. Chew on that skin a little bit, so you get not just what the flesh and the juice is like, but also that white bitter part, and a lot of flavour from a citrus fruit is in the non-white part of the skin. So the orange colour, the white colour, yellow colour, whatever citrus fruit you're having, you can really grate that fine stuff off with a fine grater and use it in marinades and dressings. It's fantastic. There's a load of flavour in there, and almost you could say because of those essential oils, which are in the skin and the flavour, in the skin and the white parts. That's where the essence of citrus fruits is. So if next time you have a citrus fruit, just chew on that. You don't have to chew on it for 5 minutes. Chew on it for 10 or 15 seconds. Spit it out, rinse your mouth if you need to, but build that frame of reference. And that's where I understand what you mean with that oily tangerine thing.
Yeah, I have to admit, and I noticed I've been getting this with a lot of beers recently. I would have guessed that there was Centennial in this as well, because it really is around the very front edge of the tongue. It's got a little bit of that lemony, grassy type of thing. I would have guessed that this would have had Centennial in it as well, because the lemony notes that you get with this are quite
intense, especially after a while.
Yeah, they build as you go further into acid. But you have to remember, Citra can give you a few lemon lime sort of properties, I think, later on in the beer. But I think in terms of fruitiness, for me, the sort of more pungent tropical notes are what start to dominate here. The passion fruity note, and Galaxy can be quite a dominating hop, I would have to say.
I think a lot of people would miss those nuances because, let's be honest, a beer like this, especially because it's so inviting, you tend to drink it quite quickly, and every time you take another sip, it's that pungent tropical fruit thing that's going to dominate. And when you wait a little bit and you let that finish, they don't call it finish for nothing. It's what needs to develop while you don't drink.
Yeah.
And then you get all those, what you said, that lemony zesty thing, that oily thing. You get more of the bittering now, by the way, that woody herbal quality, and I mentioned that's my. So, take the time between sips, let that develop for a little bit. I know it's hard because you've got this lovely beer right in front of you and want to drink it, but give it that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I think I have the advantage of. My reviews are long, very long.
All right.
But, and to be fair, they're intended as drink-alongs almost, but anyway. And I think that is one of the things that is good. You have to let a beer develop. Like, I mean, that was one thing I always, and it's maybe the sort of thing from drinking whiskey. You have to let a whiskey open up, and I sort of treat beer in the same way that I would whiskey almost. The same as sakes as well. It takes you a little bit of time to let a sake open up.
Almost any alcoholic beverage is like that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, even a cocktail will develop that blend of the flavour that you, when you chuck stuff together, will develop over time.
Yeah.
So any alcoholic drink, you need to savour it.
No, that's it. I mean, that's one thing I'd love to do when you guys get up to Sweden at some point. I've got a few different sakes. It'd be cool to do a little longer video and I can teach you guys a little bit about sake. Well, I've got a few nice sakes. So
Sake it to me, baby.
Will do. So yeah, guys, this is one of the things that we'll do when the Dutch guys make it up to Sweden. We'll do maybe a live. I don't know if we should do a live stream or a longer video, but we'll do a sort of we can do introducing Dutch beer tubers to Japanese sake. There we go. That's a video for the future. But yeah, mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel. Well, this is something I wanted to, because for me this is part of the mouth. The mouthfeel's good. The mouthfeel's slightly above average. It's not the thickest beer you'll ever have. It's not the most creamy IPA you'll ever drink. But the thing is, actually, for the type of beer it is, I think the mouthfeel is spot on. It lets you savour it for a little bit, but still you want to drink a little bit more.
I find this a more oily New England. I think this, to me, this is quite an oily one.
I see what you mean. I would never use. This is a good one, really, because I would never use oily.
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
Yeah, to me this comes across as quite, and I suppose maybe it's something that I'm a bit sensitive to, because obviously in Scotland we have very pure water, and in Scandinavia you're going to have the same thing as well. I don't know. I mean, I've always just found this in countries that are more flat, if you like. The water doesn't quite taste the same. And I mean, it's just something I've noticed since I was young. You go to certain countries and you can taste the difference in the water.
Anybody who will ever say water always tastes the same is an idiot.
Yeah.
Sorry, but water. Sorry if I'm offending people right now. Water tastes different, even throughout the country.
I agree with that as well, and
so
I mean, it's based that goes down to, if you want the scientific explanation of it, it goes down to chemistry. Your taste receptors are electronic. Different minerals set them off. That's it. So water does taste different, and science is very hard to argue with that, unless you belong to certain organisations. But yeah, we won't go into that.
You're travelling to a zone where normal people don't exist anymore.
And aliens gave birth to us all and stuff. Who knows? But yeah, anyway. So yeah, more of an oily New England IPA. I think I would say it's kind of top end of mid-bodied. I would say top end of mid-bodied, kind of about that. As Thomas said, definitely not the most creamy. More oily, like I said. IBUs, I think this one's maybe about 35-ish. 35-ish.
I'm trying, then that's the final point that for me really is a big thing. I'm getting a sharpness here in the end, in the finish. And I kind of want to say there's a bit more bittering going on, but I think you're right about a 35
or 40, I think.
Something like that. It is on the higher end of bitter for a New England style IPA. And earlier on I said I felt it wasn't bitter enough, but the bitterness really builds in the finish.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though, because for the last 5 minutes I've been thinking, like, I've had that Green City All-Star triple IPA like a week or two ago, and there's this thing here that makes me go. When we were drinking that, all of us together, the Nerd Sense guys and I, we did that in a shared review. It's going to be loads of fun. It's perfect. It's great. It's the best review ever. And there was this thing there in the finish, in the mouthfeel already, that made you realise now there's the 11% ABV, just because of the warmth. There was no ethanol there. None of that alcohol sharpness. And I'm getting a little bit of a sharpness here, and I can't help but wondering, is this the bittering building up, or is there a little bit of
a booziness,
ethanol, boozy sharpness going on? Because it's 8.5% ABV. I'm getting more of a sharp alcohol note here than I did with that 11% triple IPA.
See, I almost wonder with these IPAs and stuff, is there a rule of 10? I always think, your standard IPA is 7% or roughly 30 IBUs. If you go up to the 8.5s, you really got to have 40, I think, to balance it. If you go into the triples, you've got to have about 50, I think, to balance the thing properly.
You should.
I think that's. Brewers don't think really stick to that, but I think it's. I think for me that is it. I think if you're going to have an IPA, a regular IPA, I think there's got to be like a rule of 10. Regular IPA 30, double 40, and then triple 50.
That's what I would like.
That's what I would do.
Remember that cartoon I showed you earlier today?
Oh yeah.
The guy walks in the bar and he's like, "What's EBS?" And the bartender's like, "That's extra ESB. It's extra special bitter." "Oh, I don't like bitter. I'll have an IPA." So it needs that bitterness. But that's the thing here. Why am I confused? I'm going to be open with this. Sometimes you can get confused. Like, what am I getting here? And am I getting a sharpness from extra nice bitterness, or am I getting a sharpness from the ethanol? Because usually beers like these are not nearly as bitter as like a West Coast would be.
Yeah.
Especially like a double West Coast.
And that annoys me that I'm not a great fan of the new West Coast IPAs. For me, a West Coaster, 80 IBUs, 70 or 80 IBUs. That's it.
They have to be.
They have to be. It's just not the same.
Oh.
It's just not the same if it's a low bitterness one. But that's just me. I mean, for me, as I've said to you before, Pliny is your more bready West Coast IPA, Torpedo is your more caramelly one. For me, that's the spectrum with that beer style, and you have to have 70 or 80 IBUs.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would say on that. For me, otherwise, it's not really an original West Coast IPA. It's something different. So I would say, quite an oily New England, top end and mid-bodied. smooth carbonation. I've got a thing about 35 IBUs, maybe 40, somewhere in that kind of region. Definitely a little bit more than 30, I think, though. Then fruits for me are quite oily as well. Again, I find this one quite oily in terms of its fruits on the citrusy side of things, but on the tropical side it's a bit more juicy. And the malt base, again, I find quite smooth with just a little touch of sweetness to it. I think that's fair. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Well, guys, that's another collaboration review for you. So yeah, this was a really cool one to come across, and yeah, hopefully, maybe in the future we can get a few more of these beers reviewed on my channel at some point. This was really cool to review one of Thomas's local ones, and I think what we're going to do on Thomas's channel is, I don't know, we need to think about that, whether Thomas wants to do one of the Swedish ones, and I think we are going to look at a Scottish beer as well.
We're going to try and see if we can do a Scottish beer. That will probably all be tomorrow. Some reviews. And something that I'd like to do on my channel is I have a collaboration brew. You've got a few Frontaal beers right now, and Frontaal from the Netherlands did a collaboration with Folkinge. It's also a double IPA, a double New England, I even believe. So hopefully, if we find the time tomorrow, we can do a review of that one. You can find it on my channel. And just get some stuff going. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you will see a few. We need to figure out exactly what we're doing. This is the first one, but you will see a few more videos, a few more collaboration videos. Maybe 2 or 3 on mine, 2 or 3 on Thomas's. We need to see what we have time for. But yeah, this was definitely a nice one to do. I need to figure out exactly when to publish this. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. My first collaboration review since the one that I did with Casey and Eric from Sotogami Akihabara over in Japan. And you will see more in the future with some of the English guys. We will see about filming one with Nevitt from Japanese craft beer as well, because he lives very close to my girlfriend in Japan, so you will see him on the channel at some stage soon. But yeah, in the meantime, make sure you check out Thomas Opent. You'll find the link to his channel in the description below. There's the Dutch Beer Collective as well, which I guess I'm kind of an honorary member of these days. From now on, you're an honorary member.
I'm a kind of honorary member of the Dutch Beer Collective. But yeah, you can check out Remy at Beer Geek Holland, if I'm getting it round the right way. I always mix up Remy and Herben. You've got Herben at Dutch Beer Geek, and now you have Douglas Hesselmans, who is Beers with Douglas. He's just getting into it now. So
hopefully by the time this video publishes, he'll have some reviews. We were planning on filming a lot of stuff for him this weekend, unfortunately, because fuck you, COVID. Stuff fell through. Yeah,
unfortunately. But yeah, this one was the Leap of Faith, a double dry hop New England double IPA, 8.5% from Folkingebrew in Groningen here in the north of the Netherlands. Awesome to have Thomas on the channel again.
It was great, buddy.
And yeah, cool to try one of his local beers. So keep an eye on his channel. You will see a Scottish beer, maybe a Swedish one, and a few other things. We need to decide exactly what we're going to do. But this was a nice one to kick it off with. But yeah, Slanja just now, the guys, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Slanja, skål, prost.